So welcome in this video, which would be the part 2 video of the one that I created about the purchase agreement registration and management with an agent flow and Microsoft Copilot Studio. You can find the link of this video on the top of the screen, and now I would like to extend that flow with the ability that the agent can recognize whether a purchase order, a purchase item line is already existing in the table, and it only needs to update the line or create a new line, or doesn't do anything in order to keep the table always updated. Finally, we are also adding a monitoring flow to this agent. This means that the agent can monitor, follow up the email conversations and send warning messages when the agent detects items in the emails to them no purchase agreements are belonging, or the frame quantities, unit prices and so on are not matching with the agreed ones. So let's dive into it. The topic of today's video is observing and monitoring purchase agreements with Copilot Studio, Power Automate, SharePoint and Online Excel. Now we are moving apart from an append only log into an update or create workflow with monitoring as well. The session overview. This is the part 2, as I mentioned, of the previous video. From the simple append commands, now we are moving to update or create. We are establishing a stable ID system. This means we need to add an ID column to the purchase agreement registration table in order to be able to update the lines if needed. And finally, we are setting up an active monitoring as well. What we built last time, a short recap. We created an intelligent extraction from purchase agreement files. These can be PDF files, images. I have tested the system with scanned documents that had signatures on them and so on. They were misaligned in the scanner, and the PDF was uploaded into a SharePoint folder with the help of a Power Automate flow and the recognized text in an image or document action. We used OCR to get the text data and also the position of the text bounding boxes within this document. And with the Copilot Studio, we extracted the name of the vendor, item name, item ID, the quantity, the price, currency, and the validity dates as well. Then we created a structured registration. The database is an online Excel table in this case now, and that was the case last time as well. The agent appended lines to this Excel file with these properties I mentioned, and created new rows, but haven't checked whether we already had an item in a table that is scanned once again, or only the date, some data are updated. That was not in the scope last time. And at the end, there was an automated routing. This means that files that were successful were moved to a processed folder. The ones having missing data, for example, the validity dates were missing by 2 of them, were moved to the error folders. The core tools that were used are the list rows, action, add row, move file, SharePoint and online Excel actions. And we created a dedicated topic within Microsoft Copilot Studio called Purchase Agreement Processing that handled this flow. Now we need a unique ID. The example ID I thought about is containing the vendor name and the item ID. The logic in the background is, to one vendor, the item ID can belong only once. But it can be that I have the same item ID from different vendors. But if I'm pairing with the item ID with the vendor, that should be unique. The challenge in this case is the updates are impossible with a unique key per row, and this one, the solution, the vendor plus item ID together, could result in a stable ID that can be used as a unique identifier. The new capabilities with the help of this is to detect duplicates automatically, compare data freshness, and update instead of re-adding new rows. And it's also compatible backwards. If you already have a table, we can develop this unique ID for the older added data as well. we need to configure the Excel table. This means we are adding a new column in the very beginning. We decided already on the formula, the vendor plus the item ID. We need to check whether the ID column is the part of the table, and then we will configure this column as a key column in the update row action within Microsoft Copilot Studio. Let me show you this in the online Excel file. Now we have before the vendor the column ID, which is the first column, and this column will be filled with the data, the vendor plus item ID, with the help of the Copilot Studio flow. Then the configuration of the Copilot Studio. We are adding some new tools to the agent. This one is the list rows present in a table, which will be embedded within an agent flow, and an update row online Excel tool. Let me show you in Microsoft Copilot Studio how we can update the agent in this way. In the Tools tab, we will have now the Update Row tool. By this tool as well, the same method as by the other online Excel tools, that we are setting the custom values for the location, document library, the file. The key column is the ID column that has been selected from the existing columns in the table. The agent flow that we are adding as a new tool. Within this, we are embedding the list rows present in a table online Excel tool. It will be used to read out the data from this purchase agreement registration Excel file. This is required in order to decide whether we need to update or create a new line or don't do anything. Let me show you this agent flow. How is it set up? It is built up in the following way. There's the first step when an agent calls the flow without any input. Then we have the list rows present in a table action, where we also have the dedicated online Excel file selected with the table. The date time format is set to ISO format, and what I recommend you to do is go to the settings of this action and there turn on pagination. I increased the threshold to 10,000. I have already created a YouTube video about this. With the help of these settings, you can read out large amount of data from this Excel file. After that, the data from this online Excel file are sent back in a variable to the Copilot Studio agent topic, and the value of this variable is basically the output that we are receiving from the list rows present in a table action. Then a new topic is developed. Basically, we are just duplicating the old topic, the purchase agreement processing, renaming that purchase agreement processing update, disabling the old one, and in this new one we can add these new features actions that I'm mentioning now. And this one should be updated in the agent instructions as well. Instead of the link to the old topic, now we need to change the link to the new purchase agreement processing update topic. Let me show you now how this topic is built up. We have the purchase agreement processing update topic, as I mentioned. It starts in the same way as previously. We are getting the OCR file path and the original file ID from the input that we are receiving from the Power Automate trigger. Please check the part 1 video for the details. Then, with the help of an agent flow, we are getting from the stored.txt file the OCR data as a string file, which is stored as the OCR text. Then we need to add the new action, which is the purchase agreement registration.xlsx agent flow. With the help of this, as I showed you now, we are getting the input purchase agreement data, which contains the data in a string file that is already present in the registration online Excel file. And then we have the prompt, which is a new prompt action where we need to manage some changes. Let me show you what is developed here. The inputs are not only the OCR text, but also the purchase agreement data now. And the output is also developed. We are adding a new output parameter in the JSON variable, which is the ID, which contains of the vendor name connected with the minus sign and the item ID. And the other new parameter is the operation, which can have three values: create, update, or no. The decision rules which one to have. Create is the value when the vendor plus item combination is not found in the table. Update if this vendor item combination is found and the incoming data is more recent. And no if the vendor item combination is found but the data is the same or an older outdated one. Let me show you how is it set up in Copilot Studio. We have now the OCR input and the purchase agreement registration input datas. The descriptions we have the same as previously, but now in the output description we have the ID, the vendor minus item ID. Please create an array in connection with the item ID above if there are multiple. So please remember, in one purchase agreement we can have different or multiple items. We are creating now for each parameter arrays, tables, and in this case for the ID parameter we also need to create an array here. And the operation will also be an array. If the item ID with the vendor already exists in the purchase agreement registration table and the valid from and valid until dates are more latest, then update. If the valid from and valid until dates are older or same, then no. If the item ID with the vendor doesn't exist in the purchase agreement registration table, then create. So these are the values that this operation parameter should have. Please create an array in connection with the item ID above if there are multiple. And everything else remains the same. The inputs, the purchase agreement data, and the OCR text. And what we get is the same as the output, so agreement data JSON. Then comes the loop, which is also developed due to the update function. First we have the quality gate. If all data is okay is yes, then we are starting this updating or creating loop. If no, then the original file is moved to the error folder in the SharePoint library, and that's all the action we do. Let's assume that the value is yes, then we are setting the counter as previously. The default value is 1, and if we want to have the calculation of the maximum number of the counter, then we need to use the count function. Then we are processing each item. We are computing the IDs, which is consisting of the vendor name plus the item ID, and determine which operation we need to use. The three options then we have after that to update. Then we use the update row action with the help of the key column, which is the ID column. Now we can update the already existing row. If we have the create value, then we are adding a row with the full payload. And if the value is no, then we are skipping. No action is needed. Loop control, we are incrementing the counter and stopping it when the value exceeds the total number of the items in the array. Let me show you how is it set up in Copilot Studio. So after the prompt logic, what we do now, we are having the first condition where we are checking where the all data is okay parameter is yes or no. If it is no, then we are using the move file error action to move the original file to the error folder. If yes, then we are going on this branch. We are initializing the counter, default value is 1. Then we are setting the variable operation, which is calculated with the help of the index function, in which the counter variable is also taken into account. I'm using this message action here in order to see the operation in the log as well, but this message action will be used for another purpose also. Then we are having the next condition where we are analyzing the value of the operation parameter. If it is equals to create, then we are adding a row into a table. Here we need to add an item, and the value of the item is extended. In this case, it will be a formula. But compared to the previous case, now we are having a new column in the very beginning, which is the ID column, which is coming also from the agreement data's JSON file with the help of the structured output, taking into account the counter variable, and everything is in an index function. This is the item we are adding. If the operation parameter value is update, then we're using the update row function. Here we are adding the two inputs, which are the ID and the item. The ID we need to determine with the formula, which is the ID definition from this big item formula with the help of the index function and the counter variable. And as an item, we are using the same formula as we used by the add row in the table action, which contains now, in this case as well, the ID in the very end. This is the formula we need to use here. And else, if the value of the operation parameter is no, then nothing happens. What we do after that, we are increasing the value of the counter by 1. Then we are having a new condition, checking whether the counter value exceeded or not the count rows, the number of the items within the arrays. If not, then we are jumping back to an action, and that's what I mentioned to you. I am using now this send the message action to jump back to, and in this case I can also see the operation value in my log file. If I'm exceeding the number of the items in the array, then I go to the move file processed action, where I need to add the source file ID as an input, which is the original file ID determined in the very beginning of the topic. And this is the end of the topic, basically. I'm saving it and publishing it once again. Published, perfect. And now let's do the same test that we did last time with the same files. The only difference in the first round will be that we will have the IT column as well in the online Excel file. What I'm doing now is that I'm dropping here in the purchase agreements root folder my scanned files. Here they are, as we had them last time. I have now 5 purchase agreements scanned. I'm dropping all 5 here in the purchase agreements root folder and checking what is happening. I'm moving to the activity tab, my Copilot Studio, and checking when the files are processed. All 5 files are under progress now, and all 5 completed. What we should see is a field registration table, and here is it. I have 3, 6, 9 item lines, and what I can see now that I have the IT column in the very beginning with vendor name and the item ID separated with a minus sign here. As I can see, the data are looking good. I have the dates as well. Basically, in all of the files I had 3 items in the way as you can see it now. So I had a supplier name, then 3 items with the validity dates, unit prices, frame quantities, and so on. 2 of them, the last 2 one, number 4 and 5, having some missing data, valid until or valid from dates, they should be found in the error folder. Let's see, in the library I have number 4, number 5 in the error folder, but the other 3 in the processed folder. What I am doing now is that in the online Excel table I am just deleting one vendor, which is the interior systems, Europe maybe, exactly this one, and this one, and for, let's say, the last 2 rows, I'm just changing the date back to 2024. And now I'm copying once again the first 3 correct files to the SharePoint library, and let's see what is happening. Moving to the Activity tab and checking the updates. All 3 files are under progress now, and all 3 completed. What we can see now in the online Excel table is that we have the missing ones added as new lines, the already existing ones that had the same dates are kept unchanged, and as you see, we have all the other dates updated to 2025. And this one you can follow up in the activity log as well. Let's check one of these. In the transcript we have the operations here, no, and update, because one of the items within this purchase agreement is already found in the table, but with an outdated valid until and valid from dates. With this, now we can have our registration table flexible, updated, without adding extra new lines, and keeping all the lines structured and on the latest stand. What we can do now is turn on an email-driven monitoring. What we need to do for that as a configuration is to set up a trigger when an email arrives. The trigger sends only a raw message ID to the agent. It looks in the following way. When an email arrives with a filter, then sends a prompt to a specified Copilot for processing. We have the agent name, and only the message ID without any text is sent. Then we are adding the get email and send email tools to the agent. Let me show you this in the tools. I'm having the get email and send an email tools here. Topic name, we are creating a new topic, purchase agreement monitoring. And the agent logic, the instructions in the beginning, if input is a message ID, then use the monitoring topic automatically. We have a new sentence in the instruction. If a prompt arrives that contains a raw email message ID, then please use the topic, purchase agreement monitoring. And here we have a new topic created, purchase agreement monitoring. And it is set up in the following way. We are retrieving the email body with the help of the get email action and the input message ID we received, then loading the data already in the purchase agreement registration Excel file with the help of the same agent flow used in another topic. We are then having a prompt action where we are creating a JSON file with 2 parameters, a warning, which can be yes or no, and the body text. And if a warning is yes, then with the help of the send email action, we are sending an email to the purchase admin or the purchase team that there is some kind of warning within the email body. In the email body, an item was found in a purchase request or purchase order that has mismatches considering the frame quantities, unit prices, or there is no valid agreement for the purchase of this item compared to the registration table, and this warning message is formulated and sent to the purchasing team. Let's see how this topic is built up. As I told you, we are getting the email body, input is the message ID, and we are using the get email action. Then we have the purchase agreement registration.xlsx agent flow. The output is the purchase agreement data as a string file. And then we have this purchase agreement data and the body from the get email action, which are the inputs of this prompt. And here we are having the following simple prompt. First, the inputs are the email input and the purchase agreement registration input. What to do? Please check the items mentioned in the email input and check whether there is a valid agreement in the purchase agreement registration input, and also the frame quantities are not exceeded and unit price is matching as well. The output is a JSON file with the following setup. We have first the warning parameter. If there is any issue, existing agreement, validity period, frame quantity, unit price mismatch with the items mentioned in the email input compared to the purchase agreement registration input, then yes is the value. If everything looks good, then no. The body text, if the warning parameter is yes, then please formulate an email body with HTML formatting characters in which you summarize the issue, which can be sent to the purchase administrator. Otherwise, leave this value empty. Then let's test this. We have the two parameters, warning is yes, body text is purchasing team, during the check of the incoming order request to we found this and this and this error. After that, we have a simple condition. If the warning parameter is yes, then we are sending an email where the input is the body, which is from the JSON file. Exactly. Let's save this and publish it once again, and let's do a quick test. The agent is published. I'm sending a new email to my other email account where I have as a CC my original account where Copilot Studio is running. I have the subject purchase, for example, and I have the following body text. Dear Beton Company, I would like to order 526 cubic meter of ready-mix concrete in a unit price of €97. Could you please send me an order confirmation, regards, and so on. I'm sending this. I should receive that as a CC immediately. Here's the message. Let's check the table in the background. I have here from Beton Company this item where the frame quantity is only 500 cubic meter and the unit price is also higher. Let's see what we are receiving as response. The email arrived. Purchase monitoring warning. Hello, the purchase request for 526 cubic meter of concrete, unit price of €97, cannot be matched with the existing purchase agreement, Beton Company, and the item ID because the requested quantity exceeds the contract frame quantity and the unit price differs from the contracted unit price. Exactly, that's what we wanted to receive. So with the help of this email monitoring at the end, we are able to set up such a monitoring agent that is continuously checking the email conversations and gives warnings whether sees any mismatches between the purchase items in the email body and the ones registered in the table. With the help of these two updates that we initiated the update function and also this monitoring function, we have now a more complex purchase agreement management system that can be set up easily with the help of Microsoft Copilot Studio. If you have any other business ideas you think would worth to create a video about, please leave a comment below.